let's have conversations with families, let's have conversations with the kids, especially start with the kids, because that's what they want to do, but they haven't known that they can do it. So if you make yourself accessible to the kids to have those conversations, you will be able to hear what they want and see if it is a possibility.
Putting the time into the relationships with family as well, and building on your relationship with them so they trust you enough to tell you what they want, and then it really helps with your relationship with the kid.
Just making yourself accessible to the families, making time for the children, separate to time with the carers or with the kinship parents. Practically, it would look like probably organizing a home visit at a separate time to catch up with the carers during school hours so that it's not interrupted, and then also having separate time to catch up with the child, whether it's in the home or doing an activity like going for a milkshake, so you can have a proper conversation with the children, just dividing your time equally between the carers and the child.
I think as well, going out and looking for those connections, not just waiting for family to call you, and family finding's really important.
On the waiting for them to call you, one thing I've noticed about one of the case studies I used was that the parents are so distrusting of anyone in child protection due to their experiences that they're not going to just pick up the phone and tell you how they're feeling about not seeing their kids. And you can fall into the trap of, if I'm not hearing from the parents, they're fine, they're happy. But from this process, it's helping to be more proactive in talking to parents and seeking them out and what they want as well.
Families have historically been seen outside the circle. Whilst we've always tried to include them, I think it goes back to what you were saying, just really bringing them in and building on that. It's not just about the relationship between a child and their carer, and then separate to that, a child and their family. It's about a unit, and it goes back to that saying that it takes a village to raise a family, or it takes a village to raise a child. I think it's really important to really bring the parents in as a valued space and a valued role, and doing that through different techniques and tools, which I think this research has really kind of either given us or reminded us of or empowered us to go and use, whether that just be, maintaining informal text communication with a parent. Hey, how have you been? Just using different tools that don't necessarily have to be formal, and by the book. Just really bringing them as part of the team.
First and foremost, I think we need to start talking to the kids about what they want, even the ones that are quite young, doing it in a way that you're supporting them to feel what they want to feel and ask for what they want rather than ask what they need. Peter said it yesterday, when we talk about stakeholders, I think we forget that the children and the birth families are really big stakeholders in what we're doing. And I think it's very important that we reach out and, like Blythe said, sort of work together. We need to approach it holistically and come at from all different sides, ensuring that we're talking to the families and the carers, the schools, the healthcare professionals, that sort of thing. And then everything that they've got to say, putting that into play with what the kids want. I think that's really important. So asking the kids what they want, what they need from us, I think that's the most important thing.
And I think because of that disjointed unit that has occurred in the past, you can lack a sense of confidence to go into a home visit and really ask that child, especially if the carer has a negative view of family time. It can be really disempowering to know how to go and communicate with a child and how to do that in a way that's not going to impact your relationship with the carer as well. So I think from this research, I think it's a reminder, and I feel like it's given a sense of confidence to be able to go and do that regardless of the situation, because at the end of the day, as you said, the child should be at the forefront of what we do. And it's about using those tools to work around the challenges that we might have to still achieve the outcome that we're trying to achieve.
I think we need to be creative. A lot of the time we look at things like meeting in the park or going to sort of like an indoor play centre or something like that, and I think that takes away from that organic feeling that the kids want. Doing something, whether it be, I don't know, anything really, but just trying to be creative and thinking outside the box. Ask the kids what they want to do at family time, rather than saying we're going to go and have lunch at the park. Ask them if there's something else that they want to do. Have they learned a new trick on their scooter and they want to show mum? Have they learnt something at school that they want to talk to mum about? Or they had an excursion to the zoo. Can we go and take mum to the zoo? And the kids can lead that family time and be teaching mum, dad, whoever they're with, teaching them about who they are.
I think that's a good point you make there, Stephen, because time seems to be the limitation to how visits, family time occurs. We have those 2 hours 6 times a year that are written, or as a guide, maybe dismantling that at the beginning and finding out what the child wants to do for an activity. Because you do get good moments, share good moments with family when you do natural things like going to the skate park or going to the zoo for a day, and 2 hours is not enough to go to the zoo. So maybe planning your activity around what the child wants and not really be limited by the number of hours that the mom can have to see the child.
I had an example the other day where I'd set up for visits to be in the park every 2 weeks, and the girls are 6 and 8, and the little one, she just wanted to go shopping with dad. So we went to the shopping centre with 2 girls and dad, and they just ran around with dad looking at shops, showing him all the things they wanted. And it felt very organic for them, for dad, like they would normally do in a normal life. So by listening to what they wanted instead of just sticking with the schedule, we just changed it, and it wasn't difficult, and it was a positive experience. And it was quality time, not just ticking a box that they've seen their parents.
Having the ability to review the contact schedules as well, and where it is safe and possible to do so, reviewing if visits can be unsupervised or facilitated by carers instead of a contact worker, to make it more natural and comfortable for the family and the children, which is definitely something that I've done as well. And bringing the carer in and coaching her and upskilling her to be able to do that, and her role is not as a supervisor, it's more just to be there to support the boys.
Biggest thing is relationship, building relationships between yourself and the families, yourself and the young people, yourself and all those people that are involved with that young person, and that young person being the centre of attention. What do they want? What do they need? What do the families want? What do the families need? And let them drive it, and we just help get them there, basically, and thinking out of the box, not having to have family time at the park. Why not? Why can't mum come over for dinner? Why can't they come to the house, or they do those more informal family things?
I think the relationships are really important, as Hayley said, and I've seen the caseworkers really focus on the parents a lot as well, so that if the parents are prepared and they have a relationship with the caseworkers, they're more willing to be vulnerable, to ask for help, to take direction with less disruption or less impact on the child. So I think those relationships are critical, and that's what I've seen has worked really well.
I would actually say it's very, very important to be reaching out to the birth families, the parents in particular. I feel that sometimes in the past we've very much told them, this is where your visit is, this is where it's going to take place. As the caseworker, we're setting out all the instructions for them, and as a parent, they sometimes would sit back and just accept that this is what has to be done, and don't really realise they've got a voice, and they should have the power to have decision making, be involved in that decision making process.
It's just that question of how you're feeling to parents, to carers, to kids before and after the visit. You know, even carers who are a little bit reluctant, I guess, around family time, it would be that, well, how are you feeling? You know, it's just such a simple question and it opens it up. And, you know, if they say, well, I feel really, really angry, or no, I still don't trust it, it's okay, let's explore that. Like, you know, that simple question has just been a game changer really for me in terms of relationships, because it also has that personal kind of touch. You care, you want to listen, you want to see how they're feeling, and that opens up for those conversations and can then lead to that change. And obviously for the kid, that's something that you obviously want to do. But I think it's a question that probably a lot of us do ask the children, how they're feeling, especially if they're having some of those big behaviours or big emotions. But for the carer and the parents as well, just how you're feeling, it's like just having a conversation with a friend or a family member, really.
The family are the knowledge holders of those kids. It's the family knows those kids more than we do. The family are going to be the ones that are there when we aren't. So having that respect for the family, asking them, you know, they're the knowledge holder. They're the ones that are going to teach those kids their culture. They're going to teach their kids their family history, life story work, and providing those opportunities for that to happen.
I completely agree. I think we want, in the way to make it more organic is to listen to what our families want. We want family time to be as natural as possible and to feel as organic as it can, and that comes from family-led decision making and listening to our families, not doing what we think is the clinical best way.